So going to the game today, all ready to go, going with my son. I don't know quite yet who I'm meeting today, but quite nervous. It's just one of those games that you absolutely hate, unless we're like 1 or 2 up in the first 20 minutes. Otherwise, you're just going to find that you're always expecting it to go wrong. The atmosphere I expect to be absolutely banging today. Last time I was there, it was just crazy. It's probably the best atmosphere I'd known at the stadium, but I'm really, really looking forward to that side of things. I might need a pint before the game. Hopefully, if we win, maybe a 1 or 2 after the game as well. But yeah, at the moment, I just don't know how to feel, really. I'm just trying not to think about it too much. The tension is palpable. You can sense it on Twitter, you can sense it on WhatsApp. It's just like the sword of Damocles. This is such a big game. I mean, arguably, this game is just as important, really, as the one that we needed to win before the Champions League, because if they beat us at this game, they get away from us, and I can only see them winning the title. Everyone else seems to be slipping up. Nobody looks convincing, and if they do, the confidence that will give them is just it doesn't bear thinking about, really. But I don't know. At the very least, we need to come out fighting. I don't care how we win. I don't care how dirty the game is. Whatever it takes to win this game, we got to all play our part. We got to make the atmosphere as intimidating as it possibly can be. And hopefully, like Rich and I were saying on the pod yesterday, really, that it just comes down to mentality, that we've got the edge over them on that one, and people like Harry Kane and Heung-min Son step up, and they're the ones that get us the win. But fuck, I am not confident. I hate this game. So about half an hour away from the game. Atmosphere, alright. Not like it was last game so far. Not as much chanting around the stadium, on the concourse. Kind of a nervous sort of feel about it at the moment. I'm sort of stood right in front of the Arsenal team warming up. They look like they're focused. Can't work out whether they're a bit anxious or not. But there's a strange feeling around. And results haven't gone our way so far. Newcastle look like they've won. Chelsea look like they've won. So results haven't gone our way before we even started. But all that can change. Let's just hope that as the fans start pouring in after they've had their beers on the concourse, the atmosphere starts to ramp up. Music, they're trying to kick it up a little bit. But at the moment, as I say, it feels a little bit kind of subdued. Some sort of weird screech that started happening, and now all the lights have gone out and there's like heartbeat lights on the pitch. It's unbelievable. This is different. This feels different. This feels orchestrated. Yeah, this definitely feels different. Hopefully this is the one that's really going to get the crowd back on side now, and it's going to be really pump them up. It's like there was a nervous anticipation before, but now I think this might be the key to everyone sort of ramping it up. Paul Coyte was really giving it the big one just beforehand as well. Now the light show begins. Let's see how it is when the players come out in a second. Okay, players coming out now onto the pitch. Let's see what this is like. I'm not sure if you can sense this atmosphere.
This afternoon we welcome the players, officials and supporters of Arsenal Football Club. Now please welcome today's mascots presented to you by Kubo Tire, as well as the two teams, Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur.
Still get a sense of this kind of tense atmosphere at the moment. I suspect it'll only go mental when when the first ball is kicked. So game just about to start. Massive call from Conte to bring on Sarr. Bentancur surprisingly wasn't ready. We thought he might be, but he isn't. Atmosphere really building now. Absolutely going mad. Gotta say, I think Sarr is a very brave call. He must think he's ready. I really hope he is, because such a big game today. Don't know what to say about that half. That was absolutely shocking. We weren't in it at all. The players looked like they were afraid. That they were. I don't know. I'd never expected that kind of performance from them. I mean, fair play to Arsenal. Absolutely all over us, pressing us all over the place. We're not in it at all, really. They have thoroughly deserved to be at least 2 up. And I mean, even though the referee seems to be giving them every single decision, it doesn't seem to make any. I mean, that's got no bearing on the game at all. We just look like we are frightened, and I don't know what Conte's going to do about this. I don't know who he's got to bring on for starters, but he's certainly not covering himself in glory either. So this is not all just down to the players. I think the manager's got something to say about this as well. Yeah, really disappointing. I mean, I can't think of a decent display from anybody yet. Maybe with the exception of Sarr, who looks like he's having a reasonable game. Bearing in mind, such a big game for him to be thrown into. Lloris, I mean, where do we start? I mean, that first own goal, and then he could have cost us again after that. I just don't seem to have any faith in him at all at the moment. Surely Forster couldn't be any worse. Yeah, I mean, where do you start? I mean, I know at the end there, Kane could have scored one, but we just don't look like we believe at the moment. Unless there's some sort of incredible turnaround in the second half, this could be embarrassing. This could be 4-5, and you would say that that's all we deserve, to be quite fair. At the moment, I just don't see any way back for Spurs. I'm not sure what he can do to change it at half time. Who does he bring on? At the moment, they've got no game-changing type of players, and we just look way off it. I know we've got a good record in the second half of coming back, but I just don't see it against this lot. Their confidence is up. The fans are going absolutely crazy. They're so annoying, because they know, I think, that they're going to win the league, and it really hurts to say, but I think they will. They're full of confidence. The way they're playing is just miles better than what we're playing, and I'm not sure what Conte's got, as I say, to change this up. It's abject at the moment. I mean, it's not that you can even say that we played really badly in the sense that our passing's not coming off. We're just not even getting near it. That's the thing. They're beating us to everything. They're dominating everything, and they're not even letting us play. And so, yeah, easily they deserve to be in front at the moment. So I'm just back from the game, and I'm home. Went with my son today, as I usually do. But we left about 83 minutes, which we don't usually do. And we just never felt like we were ever getting back into it. A lot of voices around us talking about leaving early. And to be fair, the atmosphere was quite flat after the first goal went in. The players didn't look like they believed. The fans didn't really believe. And that's because of what we saw. The fans need to feel the energy from the players before they can start really getting enthusiastic and getting behind. I mean, we did everything I think we could. And I think the fans, obviously they were singing at points, but you could quite mostly hear the Arsenal fans. Quite rightly. I mean, they played really, really well. They got a lot to be proud of in their team at the moment, whereas we haven't. And I've always been totally behind Conte. But I've got to say, I'm starting to question that stance. It's troubling. I mean, if you look at Twitter at the moment, there's a lot of Conte out on there at the moment, and that's not really influencing me. It's just these first halves. How long do we go on never really turning up in the first half and turning it on the second half and hoping to do something? And with the best teams, we can't turn it around. It's too late. We've lost the game. I mean, clearly most people would have thought, like we did that last time, try and attack them, get a goal up, and then maybe hit them after that, because they will need to come at us. But as soon as they got the first goal, they completely controlled it. I mean, to be fair, they controlled it from the off. We had a few spells. I mean, again, in the match, we had a couple of chances that we could have scored. Son could have turned it around in the beginning of the second half. There was one point, actually, about 25 minutes or so in the first half where he should have scored. Kane had a header, could have scored. And we huffed and puffed. I couldn't really work out whether we got much better when Richarlison came on. Yeah, he threw himself about a bit. He looked passionate. But I don't think, even with the changes that were made, which, by the way, were way too late. I mean, Richarlison coming on with 20 minutes to go, I just don't know really what he's expected to do in that time. And then the other changes coming on 14, 15 minutes, and then changes later on after that. We were never. It's all too late. I mean, we haven't got masses to change that game off the bench. You've got to say that. You've also got to look at the idea that Conte needs the players that he wants. But is Levy going to give him that? I mean, if you think about it, who would give him £100 million now to change things around? He needs it. You don't bring someone in like Conte and not give him the tools to do the job. I sent a tweet out as well, which it's only just gone out, and I don't know if anyone really agrees with it, but it was, to the fact that Levy's eggs are all in that basket. I mean, where does he go now? If he's going to look like he's failed if he's can't back this manager after the amount of changes that he's made. We're all saying that this really is the last chance for him, but is it? I mean, I'm not saying that it's all on him. I know some people will. He does have to invest. But one of the things is on him is his choice of manager. And we were all excited when Conte came in because, he's a serial winner. He's a big manager. He's a current manager. He's not like a has-been manager. And I know that some managers don't fit certain clubs. Maybe Conte's one of those, like Mourinho was. But until you give him the funds and you give him the time, then we're never going to know. And if Conte walks or we sack him, we're going to look like a joke. But at the moment, that seems to be the appetite. And I think also that seems to be the solution that may well take the heat off Levy. And maybe means that he, the next manager in doesn't really have any time to spend any money this window. Which again will trigger the fan base. So things are really, really difficult at the moment. So, I'm torn, I've got to say. I mean, between steadying the ship and saying, we need to keep Conte, back him, and stay strong. I mean, and they did when it all was turning to shit at Arsenal. Although that was a project, a process, as they kept calling it, trust the process. This, though, I think has a different type of, there's a big difference in this, in that he was brought in to win things now. And he's not doing it. And he's not making the best of what he's got. And like I said earlier, I am a big advocate of Conte, and I want the club to back him. And I think if they do, he will bring success. But the manager has to be flexible. He has to stop playing two in the midfield if we can't match up against other teams. I mean, effectively, it seemed like Arsenal had four in there at the moment. And then there's Lloris. Oh, man. What a demise. I mean, I really do feel sorry for him. I really, really like Lloris. I really hope that he would get some trophies with us. That he's been an ambassador. He's been an amazing servant to this club. It's such a horrible sight to see the way he has slipped, and fans now just are turning on him. He must feel it. I didn't hear a single positive thing about Lloris today, and no wonder, another howler. But that's on the club. They should have replaced earlier. I mean, I can kind of understand it, because we'd all be hypocrites if we didn't say there were more priorities than Lloris last season, because Lloris looked like he was having a good season. And perhaps that's what's happened. Perhaps the club have thought similar. And they wouldn't be wrong. Like there are. I mean, there are lots of positions we really, really need to upgrade, and they're mostly in defence. And Lloris, last season, you would definitely say he wasn't one of those. We should be planning forward, and he said he was going to help us do that. But this season, my God, he's fallen off the edge of a cliff, to the point where I'm really thinking for the rest of the season, I wouldn't be too unhappy if we played Forster. I just think Lloris is gone. It's so predictable that he would have another howler today. In key games, he's having these awful, awful moments. It can't inspire his defence. And it must be really difficult for someone like Conte, who's also sort of thrown his weight behind Lloris, saying that if we have doubts about Son and Kane and Lloris, then we really do have problems. But he's right, we really do have problems. Because also on top of that, Son today was terrible again. I hoped, like I was saying in the last pod, that maybe he would be the person who'd step up today. It might be turn his season around, that, after being appointed ambassador by AIA and such a key game that's as this, that he might actually turn it around. But when is he going to turn it around? At the moment, I can't see it. He's so ineffective. I don't know whether it's all in his head, or whether he's lost a yard of pace, or what really, but it's just not working. And I think maybe we need to change that going forward. We might need to drop him for a bit and put in Hill, or maybe Richarlison. I mean, we really also need to think about changing that system. It's not working. 3 in the middle, maybe 4-4-2. I don't know why he's so opposed to it. I mean, we got players that fit 4-4-2 better than we've got at the moment that fit the system that he's currently using. Now, there's talk of Porro joining us, and that would give us better tools for that system. At the moment, you've got to ask, why would Porro want to come? But I suppose, that we've got to back him. I mean, they're not going to. The club manager there at Porto has already said, No way are we releasing him unless they trigger the release clause. We need him for the season. So we are going to have to pay that release clause. Even if they have an unsettled player, they can easily keep hold of him. We're the ones that are in the need. So if we don't spend out, we don't get that player. And again, fan base is going to turn and just really keep turning that screw on the club and on Levy. And at the moment, it really is nasty. I mean, some of the stuff I was hearing today was vile. You know, there's a lot of horrible sentiment around, and it's spilling over into comments that are offensive in not just about Levy, but I just felt there was an undercurrent of hatred overall today about a number of things, and probably won't go into them, but some of the comments I heard on the train on the way back were just obviously spiteful and born out of anger, but a lot of it was really offensive, and we're not happy. We're not a happy fan base. A lot of people will lay that blame at Levy's door. But I do think Conte's got to take some blame. But yeah, it's a mess. The game itself today just... we could probably predicted the way it was going to go with that formation, and then to see that Bentancur wasn't in and Sarr was in. Sarr played well. He's probably one of the better players. Kulusevski played pretty well, but no one was good enough today. I think Gary Neville made a comment that we looked like we were little boys, and actually, before I'd seen that comment, that's exactly the vibe I was getting. It's like men against boys. How has it changed so much in that short amount of time from last year when we played them and they were so intimidated and we just played them off the park and we just basically schooled them? Surely we should be improving. We've invested, but we've got way worse and they've got way better. I don't know quite how that's happened, and I can see why that again will cause frustration, because there was a time when that happened when we were very close to Liverpool. It was nip and tuck between us, and then they just pulled away, and that could have been us. And there's a sense of deja vu yet again. So yeah, I won't bother going through player by player. All of them were just, 4s and 5s. Really not good enough. I don't think it was a disastrous performance. I mean, we tried in the second half, but, we're just outclassed. Hugely outclassed. And I don't think there was ever a point that I really thought we might get back into this. From the moment we went a goal down, there was never a point where you felt the momentum was behind us and we could easily get back into this. It always felt like they never really got out of second gear, that they could go up the gears, and they were managing us. Yeah, I don't know really what to say. Fed up. But yeah, we're just so ridiculously inconsistent at the moment. Then we have the Man City doubleheader and Leicester game as well. That could really turn things. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we beat Man City and bloody handed the Goons the title, more or less, because they're well away. But if we did lose those games, I mean, how many points would you expect us to get, really? You have a double header against Man City and then a game against Leicester. 3, if you're lucky. We could be mid-table in in less than a month's time. And if you think things are toxic now, oh well, never a dull time with Spurs, eh? On that sour note, I will sign off. Coys.